All right, let's go ahead and finish with the sketchbook binding. So this spent the evening underneath books, and it's nice and flat. Everything is adhered pretty well. There's some, like if I pulled this, this would come off, but that should actually be okay. We'll use a little more glue on the inside. The white part is glued just to the sides and not to the middle. Everything is all dry and flat and ready for the next stages. Now I have my glue from yesterday here, and I think I'm going to need to make a little bit more. So just as a reminder, we have our Yes paste hanging out over here. We're going to scoop it out like a big dollop, just like this. And then maybe a little bit more. We want to make sure that this is going to stay really good. We'll go like that, and then go ahead and add just a little bit of water to, oops, that's too much. To help with the viscosity so that this will blend really, really well and it will flow smoothly as we brush it onto the book. I do have my paintbrush already. Remember the yuckiest possible paintbrush that you think you can get away with using. Let's use that one. I washed him out real good with soap yesterday, and so he's actually looks better than when I started. But we're getting that ready to go. This takes a little while to get it worked in there with the water. Again, we use the Yes paste because it's all archival paper glue, and it helps to keep our stuff from getting ruined over time, and it makes it so that the paper will flatten, right? You see how nice and flat this is? Other glues will cause it to buckle or to wobble, and we don't want the buckles and the wobbles. All right, here we go. A little bit of time and you can get the Yes paste to a good consistency for what we're trying to do. All right, so let's zoom in so that I can show you in the corner exactly what needs to be done. All right, so we're going to be folding over the corners like a right angle, like this, and gluing them all inside this triangle. So we have to essentially wrap the book like a present, and in order to get that to work, we start by doing this. Just right in the corner, and yeah, I got a little over, but it should be okay, and you'll see why in just a minute. Okay, so I fold it over, push it down, and then I'll rotate and do the next one. If you're just seated at your table, you don't have to rotate like that. I just rotated because I'm trying to make sure that you can see it good in the camera. And here we go. Get the glue on. And just paint it flat. Fold it over at a nice right angle. It's getting all over my poo-poo paper, and that's great. That was the purpose of the poo-poo paper, was to make sure that I got glue on it and not on the table. And I'm trying to move the book out of the gluey area, right, because I don't want glue on the other side of the cover. I want it to stay clean if possible. The glue will eventually dry, so it won't stay sticky forever, but you want to not have it look all icky on the front. So here we go. Get it patted down, and I've got one more corner to do. Okay. All right, so that's all done. Just make sure it's neat and tidy. We're gonna fold it all crisp like this. Ooh, crisp. Looks good. And then we'll zoom out so that you can see this. Okay, so now that we have it folded with all the corners in and they're all glued, then you need to glue the top here, and then we'll fold that down. And we essentially wrap this just like a book. So I'm gonna go with a nice big part here. Ooh, nice. Just like that. fold over, and I'm just kind of pushing it and trying to push the little ends down so that it stays nice and flat. And again, this is going to get the same treatment that it just had. As soon as we're done here, it's going to go under a book. Actually, it's under like 4 dictionaries. All right, here we go. Fold this in. If you do this neat and tidy like, you should have this really cool looking little present situation in the corners. It's nice to pull it tight and try to make it flat. Sometimes when the fabric will absorb the glue, it makes it really extra stretchy. The type of fabric that I bought for this project, it doesn't necessarily do that, but any fabric will do a little bit as it gets wet. Okay, ready for the third side. Get a good old glob of glue. Okay, and when you're putting the cover down and then you're going to put the books on the top of it, make sure that you have some kind of shiny paper in between your cover and anything else. So you put down a piece of shiny paper and then you put the book cover on top of it, and then you put down a piece of shiny paper, and then you put the heavy books on top of that. Otherwise, your book will glue to stuff, but the shiny paper helps to keep it from gluing to itself to other things because it doesn't really stick to the shiny paper. And if it does stick, we can peel it off easily. All right, so we've got that. Lovely, lovely. Now we're going to do the last side. And here just takes a little bit of time. Just a little careful effort, and they can look really cool. And just notice this, when I pull it like this, it gets fat. So what I'm doing is kind of tucking the corner in as I go to make sure that it goes in. Okay, so it should look like this when you're ready for the second night of weights. Thanks, y'all.